Welcome to the Fab Female Nutrition Podcast, episode 156. Hey there, I'm your host Wendy Hill, and I'm a nutritional therapist and expert in female hormone health. I specialise in helping women gain confidence and understanding their bodies, allowing them to shine. This podcast allows me to share the knowledge I've built up, along with bringing you guest experts to support you in your journey. So it's nearly the end of August. Well, it is the end of August. If you're listening to this, even on the day that it's been released, it's the end of August, which means it's September, which means it's kind of thinking about Christmas already, isn't it, guys? What happened to the year? What happened to the summer? I don't know. And today's topic, I'm talking about extreme eating. Now, I asked the question, could you be an extreme eater? And I'm guessing that most of you would turn around and go, no. But I love watching those extreme eating shows. Are you one of those that are addicted to it? And you kind of see these people who, kind of live on McDonald's or, live on fizzy pop, and they put all their food out on the table and there's no green. And you're like, oh, I wouldn't obey like that. But actually, do we? I'm guessing after I've asked a few questions and you kind of listen to this week's episode, you might go, maybe. I think we all have some extreme eating tendencies. So firstly, I think the question is what do we consider to be extreme? So, there are sort of an extremes such as like, anorexia, or bulimia, that's extremely serious and needs, proper psychological support, and help from a trained professional. And then we've got the kind of things that where we see on the TV shows, like I said, where, people eat loads and loads of junk food, nothing green. And we're all like, find it a kind of like slightly kind of weird. And how do people get themselves in that place? So orthorexia is when you are really controlling about food and you won't eat kind of unhealthy foods. Now, you guys know that I eat pizza and blah, 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 and love beer and all the rest of it. So it's not so much for me, but I do see this kind of quite a lot with clients. And you'll see kind of like food diaries, or you kind of talk to people and they kind of say, well, what did you have for dinner last night? And they go, oh, I had smoked salmon and veggies. And you're like, oh, that's, salmon and veggies, that's really great. And what did you have for porridge and breakfast? And it'd be like, oh, I had porridge with chia seeds and berries and some flax seeds and all these other kind of ingredients that, super healthy, some spirulina, and I had my green juice and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, wow, that's really good. And what are you having today? Oh, I'm having porridge with chia seeds and flax seeds and berries, and I'm having my green juice with spirulina. You become so restricted in what you eat that actually it isn't that healthy. It has become extreme in the kind of what you would initially considered to be healthy, but because it's so limited, it's just become extreme eating in a different form. Because of course, if you eat the same thing on repeat, you're just going to get the same vitamins and minerals on repeat. And okay, you might be ticking most of the boxes, but remember, variety, seasonality, local food, you can't do that if you are eating the same healthy thing on repeat. I don't care where you live, the same foods are not in season week in, week out. The other one that I also see, and if you don't do this, the other one, you might do this one, is inability to stop eating a certain food. So the extremeness comes from, oh no, I can't have a biscuit. I can't have, do you want a bit? No, I can't have a biscuit, because if I have one, I know I'm going to eat the whole packet. Can't open a packet of crisps. If I open a packet of crisps, I'm just going to eat them all. Even if, I'm going to eat a family bag. If that's what there is there, I'm going to eat the family bag. That in itself is a form of extreme eating, because you should be able to have a couple of pieces of chocolate. You should be able to have half a bag, a small bag of crisps, a bowl full of crisps, whatever it might be, a piece of cheese. You should be able to have that without eating the whole packet, the whole block, the whole cake. And if you can't do that, that again in itself is a form of extreme eating. And our childhood doesn't help us, because I think we are constantly bombarded by food rules, particularly in childhood. It's like, oh, you can't have your dessert until you've eaten your lunch. you can't have that until you've finished. You can't have sweets before XYZ. You can't have something after a certain time. You have to eat at certain times. This is grown-up food. It's not for you. That's some of the things that kids are shown. No, that's not child's food. That's grown-up food. You can have this food. That's your food. And this is like mummy and daddy's food. And eating certain foods at a certain time of the day, it's built from routines, isn't it? So breakfast in our house was cereals. And for years, I ate cereal for breakfast because that is what I had for breakfast every day, and that is what felt like breakfast food. We had sandwiches for lunch every single day. We had lunch. When you're a child, you have lunch at a certain time every day. Now I've had clients who still have that kind of, I eat lunch between 12 and 1. And I'm like, okay, but like, if you think about when you have breakfast and when you're going to have your evening meal, maybe we need to move that a little bit. Oh, no, I couldn't possibly go past 12:30 without having my lunch. I'd be absolutely starving. You're like, well, would you? Are you not just controlling that a little bit? What if we made your breakfast a bit healthier and a bit, full you up a bit more? You might be able to move your lunch a bit later because your evening meal is slightly later. There's another reason that we operate extreme eating, and that can be out of fear. So lots of people do have food fear. So sometimes it's from childhood. So maybe you ate something in childhood that you didn't like. And I think you always need to remember that your taste buds do develop over time. So there's, as a child, we definitely have a much sweeter tooth. We don't really like sour, bitter foods. That is kind of a defense mechanism as well. Also, we need to try things many times before we really know if we like them or not. Now I think back, I always think I was like really easy and ate loads of foods. And I now look back and think, actually, I was a fairly fussy eater. And there are certain foods that I eat now that I really wouldn't eat as a child. I didn't really like cheese. I love cheese now. I didn't really like cheese very much as a child. I didn't eat kind of things like ham and bacon as a child, which I now really love. There were quite a lot of foods that I was very kind of unsure of. I didn't like gravy. I didn't like turkey. I didn't like cranberry sauce. I didn't really like mashed potatoes. There are a whole heap of these things. If you've had a bad experience with a food, I would encourage you to try it again. Maybe when you're going out to a restaurant or something, try it again. We've all seen those extreme eaters where I only eat, carrots and sweet corn, and I won't eat broccoli, and I won't eat spinach, and I won't eat cabbage. And there are so many different ways to prepare vegetables that if you have said to yourself, I don't like certain veggies and you haven't tried them for a very long time, or all vegetables, or all green vegetables, or all healthy stuff. I hate that when clients say to me, well, it's not clients usually, because by the time they get to me, they're kind of ready to embrace it. But I hate it when I meet people and they go, I don't like healthy food. It's like a badge. I've got a badge. I don't like healthy food. That is extreme eating. Yeah, I don't like healthy food. Firstly, you are putting a kind of a sticker on certain foods to say that they are healthy. Well, what foods are they that you're saying that they're healthy? Because I don't know, what do you class as healthy food? Because it might be totally different to what I class as healthy food. So there's a first barrier that we need to overcome. And it's that almost that kind of like, no, extreme, I do not eat healthy food. That is extreme eating. And so if you're saying I don't like vegetables or I don't like fruit, I would challenge you and say, go and try some different ones in different, cooked different ways. And I love to eat my food. I love a wide range of foods. And that's what I want from you, is to be able to eat the biggest, widest range of foods that you can. So I ask you now, are you an extreme eater? And maybe you have some extreme eating tendencies that you could work on so that you have a broader, wider diet, and you change those rules that you've been setting yourself for many, many years, which actually aren't really serving you anymore. That's it for this week, guys. Next week, I've got an interview and we're talking about skin health. And I learned quite a lot on this podcast. So I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. Take care, and I will see you next week. Thank you for watching this excerpt of this week's Fab Female Nutrition podcast. If you'd like to listen to the full episode, then the link is in the notes below.